Hello, everybody. Welcome to Duo Planet, the YouTube channel where we talk all things media. I'm one of your hosts, Azteral, and like always, I'm joined by Jordan, aka Slasher.
Hey everybody.
And we're back for another week of The Bad Batch. I say another week. It's basically 2 weeks of The Bad Batch because we get 2 episodes, and that is great. The episodes are titled Infiltration and Extraction. Um, yeah, so we pick up sort of after where we left off after the Dune episode, as I've been calling it, where they were on the snow planet where Crosshair betrayed the Empire because he realized how dispensable he was. We also have Rex in this episode. Rex is escorting a senator, but curiously, it's a senator from the Separatists, not the Republic, towards a meeting with Senator Chuchi, who you may remember from previous seasons and indeed the Clone Wars. Also on the planet is one of the Shadows, as they are now being called. They're not the Shadows of Tantis, they are just the Shadows. An elite operative for the Empire, conditioned clone, basically, that has no personality other than completing its mission. We have some epic action sequences. Rex proves that he's a badass, like he always is. They manage to capture the Shadow, and they're going to take it for interrogation. They can't really interrogate it because it has no personality to interrogate. It's sort of just a blank slate. However, it does come with a handy dandy target list. One of them being the senator that Rex was escorting, and the other, of course, being the primary target, Omega. So Rex decides to summon um, Hunter and the Bad Batch to his base so that they can interrogate the Shadow, but also protect Omega. But it's not going to be that simple, of course, because another Shadow is activated to kill the Shadow that has been captured, and so it's going to be great. Omega copies Crosshair for a little bit. It's sort of a bit funny because she's sort of just doing whatever Crosshair's doing, and it's a bit entertaining. They arrive and they're greeted by a familiar face, a soldier that, while Crosshair was working for the Empire, he betrayed. Classic Crosshair. And Omega also gets a fancy new weapon. Of course, you'll remember in season 2, she got her hands on an energy bow. She now has an energy crossbow,
Which,
which
yeah, is
pretty cool.
it's more. I think it's more sleek looking.
Um, Now, the Shadow of Tantis arrives at the planet. I don't think we get to know the name of the planet. They just sort of call it the base. In his sleek ship, and let me be 100% with you guys, right? The ship, it looks sick. It's sort of a mix between modern day jet and futuristic starship, and it looks really, really clean. It's got an all black paint job. It's got red engine. It is very cool. Also, the armor that the Shadows are wearing is quite interesting.
It's very. It just looks like the armor that Crosshair wore when he was in the Empire.
Yeah.
Just a bit
Um,
different.
so the Shadow gets on the move, and he basically does a stealth mission. It's like watching a video game character sneak around because he's just sprinting at full speed. Um, Shit goes to hell. Explosions start happening. The Shadow realizes Omega's there, and an extraction team is sent to retrieve her because she is the top priority. Um, the question throughout the entire first episode, Infiltration, is can you trust Crosshair? And is Crosshair secretly a sleeper agent for the Empire, which could be possible. However, that episode ends when the extraction team is about to arrive, And then we get on to the seventh episode of this season, Extraction. And we pick up where we left off. The Extraction team arrives. There was an explosion in the previous episode that sort of knocked the Shadow down, and so he's limping for the start of this episode. The person being sent to lead the Extraction team is another familiar face. It is Commander Wolf, who fans of the Clone Wars and, of course, Rebels will likely recognize. Interestingly, he seems to not know that they're going after clones, which is a bit weird. So that is a little bit of a hint that maybe during this season we'll see Wolf join Rex like he has in Rebels. And the entire 7th episode sort of takes place as I want to call it a run and gun episode. There's a lot of characters running and talking, and then a lot of shooting, or in this case, smoke bomb throwing. They descend the spire that they're in, which is where Rex's base is held, and they get shot out of the sky as they try to escape in a little ship by the Shadow. The Shadow, by the way, even though he's a clone, seems to almost be disgusted by the regular clones. So they go tracking. Shadow runs off because he's a solo operative and he doesn't need no regular clones helping him. Smoke bombs are thrown. They keep running. Crosshair gets into a fight with the Shadow. I must say, it's a pretty cool fight. And it looks like he's about to lose. The Shadow, interestingly, says, "You had a chance to be one of us." And I believe that what happened to Crosshair was the conditioning is still trying to take hold, and that's why his hand keeps shaking. So that might be why he's not as good as a sniper as he once was. Yeah, and the episode ends with a semi-standoff between Wolf and Rex, and Wolf decides to let Rex go, and then says that they'll collect the Fallen, because they're their brothers and they deserve that much. So it sets up quite a lot for the rest of the season, and also teases us with Hunter needing to find out what makes Omega so special. So that is the double for this week. Obviously, there's one more double after this, sometime in the future. But I must say that I do enjoy when these episodes drop together. It feels like a more complete story than a one-off episode per week.
Feels a lot better.
Yeah. What did you think, Jordan?
I thought this was like, obviously reviewing it as it's like one big episode instead of just two separate ones. I really enjoyed it. I think the idea of the clones being mind wiped and stuff and turned into a special project is definitely interesting, to say the least.
I will also point out we're halfway through this season.
Yeah, we're halfway through the season. It feels weird to say that as well.
Because it feels like yesterday that it came out.
And we're still yet to see Asajj Ventress.
Yeah, I think, looking at the episode titles, I think Asajj Ventress may be the second double. Or will be the... in fact, no. I was going to say maybe she's the focus point of episode 12, Juggernaut. But I'm sort of hoping and holding out for Vader to appear in that one.
I feel like Vader is more...
That is 4 episodes towards the end.
Yeah. I feel like
there is an episode called...
Like Vader.
There is an episode called The Harbinger. And I think maybe Asajj... It's weird, because Asajj Ventress could appear in multiple. And she could be the catalyst for us figuring out that Omega is indeed Force sensitive. Because obviously Asajj Ventress is Force sensitive.
Yeah, and more than anything, other Force sensitives can detect other Force sensitives.
Yeah, I found it quite interesting, and I hope that obviously Dave Filoni, the god that he is, decides to go down an interesting route. I am a very big fan of the shadows.
Yeah.
I do like the concept behind them. Yeah, more so the concept of them. I feel like they'd be terrifying in any other context. It's like imagine a clone that is like 100% dedicated to completing the mission, even if it means dying.
Yeah,
But he
exactly.
doesn't die. Actually, he doesn't die.
No, he
We
doesn't.
think he did, but he's still alive, which could prove interesting in the future.
Yeah, pretty much. When you see it, it's definitely going to be interesting to see where things go. I'm interested to see how things are going to progress. But we don't know, do we, really?
I have some theories. I think the shadow we've seen could be the mysterious one that we saw and the thing, but the sound of it, there's like lots of them, and I am holding out hope that one of them is Tech, and that Tech's had his like entire personality erased. He's been brought back by the Empire, had his entire personality erased, maybe even had some alterations to his DNA so that he's a mix between Tech and Crosshair.
Yeah.
Very, very interesting. It makes me really want to go back and watch season 7 of the Clone Wars for the Bad Batch to see like how far we've come in their sort of story. I do miss Tech though. I won't lie. The naive humor that he brought to the Bad Batch, I do miss I don't know how you'd call it. I think it's like literal humor, where it's like he just points out the obvious, and it's just hilarious.
His humor's like funny without him meaning to be funny.
He thinks that he's just like
he thinks he's serious and stuff all the time, but really to us he's fucking hilarious. But he just comes off like that, like he is fucking hilarious. So yeah, but like I'm excited to see where things go with the show, and sad to see it end, but all good things must end eventually.
Indeed. And hopefully we will see a lot more Star Wars stuff in the future.
True. We've got Acolyte in June apparently, so yay.
It will be, I would say it would be vital for them to figure it out, because if they don't figure out where they're going to go from this point, it could be a little
someone on Twitter has put this. Bad Batch spoilers. Tech's last words being, "When have we ever followed orders?" and Clone X never following Wolf's orders. He's got to be Tech.
I wouldn't be surprised personally.
Apparently, someone is dubbed Crosshair Cross Dad.
To be fair, that entire episode he was sort of, have you got your gun? Yeah. Have you got your lunch?
Yeah, and then you've got Omega with the fucking toothpick in her mouth as well. It seems that she like takes she takes like an attribute from each of the Bad Batch. Like she takes some, like learns something from them. So like when it comes to Wrecker, it's like to have fun, and that with Hunter it's to be tactical, and with Crosshair it's to, you know, chew on something or something like that, or be stealthy. And then with like when it was with Tech, it was to be smart about things. So she learned something from each of them. But yeah, I've got nothing else.
Yeah, I think that it's very, very likely we will see an increase in Star Wars stuff soon, especially considering there's so much that they can do.
Yeah.
There's like a lot of stories out there that are waiting to be told in a different capacity. But yeah, been episode 6 and 7 of The Bad Batch. I have been one of your hosts, Azteral.
I've been your Slasher.
We will see you next week for the next episode. But for now, may the Force be with you always.
When have soldiers ever followed orders?
We escaped,
Forget 1,000 things every day, pal. Make sure this is one of them.
It's over, Anakin!